All right, here I am. Oh, chubby cheeks. Chubby cheeks. Good morning, all. I have not done a TikTok live in a while from inside the office of Destination Decluttered, but it is chilly out. And also, I'm the one who decided to do one at 7 a.m. today. I know there was a reason why. Actually, there definitely was a reason why. It's early. It's early, people. I'll be honest with you. You feeling the early? Let's ease each other into this earliness until about 8 o'clock today, shall we? That's how I am. Because that's why I'm showing up, is to help you kind of, wake up, stretch, breathe, and then say, okay, what kind of day do I want to have? What kind of day do you want to have? You know? Because you get to choose to do some things that are going to make your day good. And you can choose to do things that are going to make your day feel crappy. And then weird shit's going to happen that you don't even think is going to happen. So good morning, everybody. This is how we do it. Po Girl, nice to see you. If we haven't met before, I know there's a few people kind of joining in and kind of shuffling back and forth. I'll probably say this a couple of times throughout the next hour when I do this TikTok live, but my name is Beth. I just realized that my voice sounds kind of weird. These are the first words I've spoken today because it's 7 a.m. where I am. Abbott Elementary, nice to see you, and welcome back to welcome back to the East Coast anyway. See ya, nice to see ya. I waka waka, nice to see ya. And my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. So I help you declutter your life, your home, whatever needs decluttering. This is what I do. Now, I'm fairly casual about this. You can tell. This is how I show up. But I think casual is fun because it's not so, like, freaking out. I might be getting a cold. Could that be it? So anyhow, good morning. Kate Kager, nice to see you as well. All sorts of friendly names. So I do these TikTok lives, for those of you who don't know, pretty much almost every day except for when I'm traveling. Now, the people who know when I do these TikTok lives are the people that have signed up for my mailing list because they get access to the calendar. But I'll be honest with you, the calendar right now is scheduled TikTok lives run out this Friday. Next week, I am traveling. And sometimes I try to do like a pop-up TikTok live when I'm traveling, and other times, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the good news is that if you like to listen to my TikTok lives and I'm not around, I have you covered. They are recorded and put up on Destination Decluttered, because that's my coaching. I kind of forgot that part. Destination Decluttered, that's me. Here on TikTok, that's me. On YouTube, that's me. On Instagram and Facebook, that's destinationdecluttered.com is me on my email list. So Elizabeth Lyle says, this lady is amazing and a wonderful inspiration. Well, thank you. I now need to live up to that. So let me ask you this, anybody. Pardon me. Yeah, I might be getting a cold. How can I help you? No pressure. I used to work in retail. I know sometimes when you say, would you like anything, help with anything? No, I got it. I'm cool. But if you just took a beat. Good call. Good call, Jennifer. Where is my tea? My tea is right here. The reason I'm not clutching it for warmth is because I'm inside, not outside on the patio. Because I learned yesterday on the patio, I got a chill. Maybe that's where I got my cold. But give yourself a minute and just kind of look around the room you're in. I'm looking around the room I'm in. You can tell that. How's your clutter situation where you are right now? Now, we all as humans will have stuff around us because we live with stuff. We put things out temporarily. We put things away occasionally. And so there's going to be a certain amount of stuff that's hanging out because people from Home and Garden are not coming to my house today to do a photo shoot. And if they are going to your house, let's know. Okay? So, okay. So I just saw AJEJ4 says level 7. Well, yeah, I'm like at a 1. I've got some stuff on my surfaces. Surface clutter, stored clutter, sentimental clutter. So the easiest one is the surface clutter. And yeah, I was working this past weekend on my family tree. I have a tote of information from that. But then when yesterday hit and I was back to my working schedule, I don't have as much time. So that went from my desk temporarily into the corner there. But I'm going to put it away back in this closet. Yeah. Okay, Wendy Rose, this is really good. It's creeping in on me. Yeah, you can push it back, though. Push it back, way back. You can push it back. Pagerella says you get stuff everywhere. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I don't try to convince anybody. You know how there's that thing that people say, like a messy desk? I think it was probably a sign on somebody's messy desk. A messy desk is the sign of a creative mind. Now, I say you find the level of clutter that feels right to you. You know? I have a little bit of clutter. You know, I've got my flip-flops that I was wearing yesterday outside that I realized, you know what? My feet got cold. So they're close to the closet that I'm probably going to put them in there until next season. You know? No, this is cool. Jennifer is saying, my house is doing better, but my basement, yikes. Basements and attics tend to be the island of misfit toys, the place where people push things that they just at the time don't want to deal with. So if you think about it, everything down there, or many things in your basement, are things that you said up on the surface of the first level of your home, I don't know how to deal with this right now, so I'm just going to put it down the basement. This is stored clutter. This is the next level. We talked about surface clutter. Surface clutter is any clutter that is on pretty much a horizontal surface. It can also be technically, I've been doing these TikTok lives enough to anticipate the snarky people and be like, well, some of it's vertical. Yeah, because like I have hooks on the back of a door here that sometimes I could get overloaded with stuff. But notice what happens. Surface clutter, if you don't have a place to put it, if you don't know where to put it, it stays on the surface. And sometimes you don't know where to put it or have a place to put it because your stored clutter is full. You know? Now, so just notice this. Okay, the sentimental items. Now, I am dealing with sentimental items because I'm going through my family tree. And Jennifer, I'll just share this with you, is did I do a TikTok video on this or just a TikTok live? I did a TikTok video on this. Remind yourself, couple things with sentimental clutter. First of all, please don't start with the sentimental clutter. Cut your teeth. Cut your teeth on. Get used to. Practice decluttering with the easy stuff. This is like when you used to drive a car, you would practice like in an empty parking lot. You don't go right onto the highway. No, you start with the simple stuff. So start practicing decluttering. Get used to making decisions about your stuff using the stuff that's on your surface. Then, when you're feeling good about that, you might open up a drawer or a door, not a door to the basement. We'll get to that in a bit. But sentimental clutter is a special subset, a special category of clutter, because this is the clutter that tells you stories that affect your heart. You've got a story in your head that makes you feel a feeling in your heart, and it's triggered by looking at an item of sentimental clutter, of sentimental category. So I wonder, I will offer this to you because remember, the thing is just a thing. The story is a story. They're two things. They're like almost like a very unpleasant or a Reese's peanut butter cup that doesn't really work for you. You've got the chocolate and you've got the peanut butter, but really all you want is the chocolate. Let's say it's instead of chocolate and peanut butter, it's like chocolate and chalk. Like two great tastes that don't taste great together. Now I say this to you because we as humans tell stories about objects. We infuse meaning into items. This to you, you're like, I don't know what that is, but I'm like, oh, you know what this is? This was something that was on the shelf at my parents-in-law's house, and I'm pretty sure that my mother-in-law brought it over from Holland when she was young. To you, you're like, I don't know, what is that? I have a story. So remember everybody, with your sentimental items, first of all, there are other ways you can capture the story besides having it locked in an item. You can take a picture of the item and write the story. You can record yourself. Hey, I'm Mr. Microphone. We'll be back to pick you up later. You can record the stuff. You can take a video and walk around the house and do almost like you're in a docent in a museum. You can capture the story, and then you might be feeling more likely to release the object if the object is jamming you up. But sometimes I have sentimental items. I know I can capture them other ways, but sometimes sentimental items are useful. I have some silver that I inherited when my great aunt died. So I use those things occasionally when I'm serving stuff if we have people over. If it's useful, use it. Okay? Don't wait for something good. Make these things good things happen. But the other thing too is just think of the quantity of items you have, sentimental wise, for a certain person. And are you ever going to forget that person? Probably not. How many souvenirs do you need from their life so that you remember them and they don't die out in your memory? Okay, so just a couple of nuggets to think about. Now, I don't expect you to, this is almost like watering a plant, and you got to let these thoughts kind of dim. I said dim because my screen went dim in front of me. I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say, you got to let the water kind of trickle down and just plant that seed and see if that connects up with you, okay? But I highly recommend people, if you're just starting out with clutter, sentimental clutter is the category of clutter, is the level of clutter that is also going to drain your physical and mental energy much more quickly than the other two, okay? So I hope that helps, Jen. Allura by Debbie says, I'm a lost cause. My inner self is organized. Haha, I say I have ADHD backwards. Hey, whatever works for you, huh? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, Kate Kager saying, that makes me feel better. My mind must be exploding with creativity. Okay, if you have creative thoughts in your head, much like when we're coaching, and I say, whatever comes up, write it down. Get your creative ideas out of your head and write them down so you know some place to access them, so they're not stuck in the random filing system in your head. Okay. Oh, Jen's grand passed, so I get that. I have stuff from my grandmother too. Laura Gibbons Voorhees says, does anybody ever look at spaces you need to tidy and wish you were Mary Poppins? Yeah, you know what? But here's the wonderful thing. I want you all to be your own Mary Poppins. Now, I like it when other people do things for me. Do not get me wrong. But man, when you're afraid to do something, when you say, I don't know how to do it, and then you don't do it, you reinforce that you feel like you don't do something. I want to empower you. This is the lifey coachy part of what I do, is I want to remind you of your power. I want to remind you that you can do something about the stuff that's bugging you in your life. Okay? And this has a wonderful effect, not just in going doing the decluttering from room to room. This surpasses your house. You're going to go out and change the world in however you see fit. Now, Nancy says, I used to be stuck thinking about how much I paid for everything. Yes, I paid a lot for that is a thought up in your head that keeps you stuck because you feel like, oh crap, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm getting rid of something. But she says, but once I cleared that one room, I kept on going. Notice the practice of thinking different thoughts and feeling different feelings, and it helps you continue to do different things. Okay. Now, Allure by Debbie is mentioning, I want to clean, but when I walk into a room and see it, I walk out. Now, next time you do that, Debbie, I want you to pay attention to what happens when you're in that room. Observe what happens. I have a couple of ideas, because this happens to a lot of people, including myself. One is your body has a physical or nervous system reaction to what is going on in that room. You're like, oh my gosh. And you know what? Notice, words are coming out of my head. Oh my gosh. The words in your head causing that feeling are probably something to the tune of, there's so much in here. I can't do this. This is too much. I'm overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed. I'm not overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed. But notice what you're looking at that causes you to feel that. Because when you pay attention to that kind of trigger point, that point right there, then you can do something about that if you choose to. And what I offer with overwhelm is you can do something about that. Instead of being overwhelmed, you can chunk it down. You can start in that room, and even if there's a whole pile of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff is just a bunch of little things crammed together. So you can start with some things in that room. You can start, but you need to pay attention to how you're feeling. If you don't pay attention to how you're feeling and calm that down, you are going to want to turn on your heels and go right out. So just notice that for everybody. Notice when you see something and you feel like you don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. Walk up the staircase to your brain and say, are there some words in my head that are causing me to feel that way? And then whatever those words are, again, you can change your life with a 35-cent notebook from Staples, okay? I use them all the time. Write whatever is coming up, you write it down. Because then you get some distance. You're not looking up here. You're not so close to those thoughts because they're going from eyes to brain. You have distance. You've got I don't know, to me that's like an arm's length. You can see it at arm's length, and when you have some distance, you can make better decisions. Okay? Now, I love this. All right, Laura Gibbons Voorhees came in. She says, good morning. Rehomed a bunch of things yesterday and have a little more to do today. Adios. Good. Come in, get some inspiration, leave. I love it. Okay, Brandy B, and you're a Laura with Debbie, the same. Overwhelmed. Yeah. Overwhelmed, people. What do we have? Yeah. Da 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 da. No, that wasn't Bewitched. Pagerella says, I wish it was Samantha from Bewitched. That was I Dream of Jeannie, I think. Bewitched was ba 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 ba. I wouldn't mind being either of those, but their husbands were kind of dorky. I think I would have a cuter husband. Okay. Tinkle tinkle tink. Yeah. Prince fan. You might try your own volume. I think people can hear me. So, yes. And the real Mathberg says, yes, just start. That's when the motivation happens. But I will say this. Just starting can be easy to say but hard to do. That's why I say to yourself, before you just get out and drive your car, you sit there and you make sure you've got gas in your tank, that you can see through the windshield, that your mirrors are clean, that you've got gas. Did I ever say gas in the tank? That's always my big one. That you've warmed up your engine a little bit and you know where you're going. You may not know the exact route, but you know where you're headed, so that when you do get into gear, you're actually doing stuff with a full tank of gas, knowing where you're going. Yeah, and Farm Girl 11, 100%. I think a lot of the problem is we were just never taught. Yeah. So we were never taught this skill. This is why I show up in your life right now, to teach you it sooner rather than later. You didn't learn it back then. That sucks. But guess what? I'm here to teach you this now. And trust me, I will teach you how to declutter better than anybody else in your family, because if they didn't teach you, they probably didn't know how to do it themselves. Now, I love this because Susan in Texas is saying, I keep feeling, and she did it in all caps, this is bigger than me. Okay? Notice what's happening. Here's me, and that is so big that I am feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of it. But think of all the big things in the world. They're all made up of little things. So you can say that to yourself. I know there's a lot here, but I can chunk it down. I can make that big thing smaller. And I can start with whatever the small thing is. Very funny. I got a weird deja vu. Means I'm on the right track. When you feel it's bigger than you, remind yourself, it's big, but I can deal with big things. I can chunk this down. I don't have to do it all today. I will not get it all done today, but man, can I start. Think of it like a road trip. This is why I have this thing behind me that you don't often see when I'm doing TikTok lives outside. You get a starting point on a map. You've got a heart here, which is your destination. Think of decluttering like a road trip. Okay? You don't have to know where, if I'm starting here in Pennsylvania, which is where I am, and I want to drive to Palm Springs, California, because I love it. I don't know if I'm going to be taking a left or right in Utah right now. I don't have to know that right now. What I need to know is how to get out of my driveway and onto the PA Turnpike heading west. As long as I do that, I will get started. You don't need to know every step along the way at the beginning. Don't wait until you know all of it to get started. Just know enough to get you started. Trust that you're going someplace you want to go and hit the road. Okay? Okay. Pagerella says, my wiring changed when I became a widow 12 years ago. He was the organized one and I followed suit. Yeah. It happens. You can change the wiring of your brain. I know this because I grew up in a cluttered home. I never really liked the feeling, but I was like, I don't know, I guess this is what we do. We throw our clothes on the floor. Oh, I guess this is what we do. We pile up papers and never never deal with them. And then we freak out and we put them in a box when somebody's coming over, and then we put the box in the attic, and then in 2024, somebody goes up there and finds stuff from 1973. You can change the wiring in your brain in that respect. It takes practice. Anything you want to change takes practice. You don't go from not knowing how to drive a car to immediately being good, but you show up and you practice and you practice. Now, I love this. I just said something about paper. Susie Q27 says, I have tons of paper saved. I took small stacks and finally shredded them, and this is the best part. This is why I show up as a decluttering life coach. She says, I feel so free. So we often think in clutter about how it's going to look to me, to other people. My house is going to look clean. Now, that's good. Looking is good. We are affected by... I keep on hitting something. Oh, I see what's happening. We are affected by our visuals. So you will be affected when your place looks better, you'll feel better. But notice what I did right there. Feeling better is why I want you to do this. Because being in a decluttered home feels better for your physical body. There are less visual inputs that your brain needs to process. Okay? So notice these things, and you can do something about it. All right? Now, speaking of husbands, Nurse Jackie says, I've been trying to get my husband to clean his spare room. Help. It's his closet and papers, etc. Okay, so I have a husband. He's got a room. He and I have different versions of clutter. I also try to motivate my husband to get in stuff with his. Now, he's a good egg. He is willing to. Here's what I would recommend. All right? Here, just between you and me. Even with yourself. Find what's in it for me. Answer the question, what's in it for me from your husband's point of view? Why? He doesn't feel like he wants to clean his spare room. What's in it for him? Why should he? If he doesn't see a reason to, he's not gonna. I'm the same way. If I don't see a reason for me to do something, I don't feel like I want to do it. So start to think of it from his perspective. Say, you know what? It would be a lot easier if you could find your clothing a lot easier, or you could immediately go and look at those baseball cards you picked up, or think of how the decluttering of his room and him doing it would benefit him. That may be a way to motivate somebody else, but I will also offer, you know how hard it is to change you, everybody here. That's why I am a successful life coach, because people struggle to do things on their own and they need some help. Even when you try to do it on your own, it can be tough, so it's good to have some help. That's why I show up and this is what I do. But I say this because it is so hard to change yourself. It is so much more difficult to change somebody else, because you do not know what's going on in their head and in their heart that's causing them to not go through it. You can show up, I will say this, show up with curiosity and compassion and love versus judgment. Maybe when you're judgy, they shut down because you remind them of their bossy mom. Maybe if you're just curious and questioning, you allow them to think of, I don't know why I don't do this. Oh, maybe this is why. Okay, Susie is saying, my problem is I get started, then I stop, then everything piles up again. Help. Okay, I'm going to diagnose this. I feel like you're popping the hood on your car. This is what I think might be happening, and let me know. You don't even have to let me know if this is right. Just absorb this and see if it resonates. I get started. I do the things that are easy for me, and then I hit a layer or an area or something where it becomes difficult. I do the easy stuff, but then the easy stuff is gone, and then I'm left with the difficult stuff. Now, difficulty can be a couple of things. It can be the level of clutter that you have, as far as sentimental or stored. It can be, even if it's surface clutter, it could activate a story in your head that keeps you stuck. It can also have something to do with the amount of time that you've spent decluttering. Maybe you're just running out of gas and you're doing it until your tank is absolutely empty, and then you have no energy to move forward. And then you stop, you go away from it, And then the next time you think of decluttering, your brain remembers and your body remembers how awful it felt then at the end because you ran out of gas and you spent some time to recover. That may have something to do with it. Now, this is why I don't just coach on Zoom with a bunch of people, because we get deeper, because I'd be like, is that it? I don't know. But the other thing, too, is the everything piles up again. You guys, let me clue you in, please. There are two things that need to change when you want to live a decluttered life. One of them is the one we all think about. Like when you're losing weight, I need to decrease the number. I need that big number here of stuff that I have. I need to focus on moving the pin down so I have less stuff in my house. Yes, that is definitely an important part of decluttering. However, once you get to that point, if you don't want it to pile up again, notice who does the piling up. It's you. It's your family. Oops. It's your habits. Okay? Notice that. You can go through the act of decluttering, but then if you don't change your habits on a daily basis, you will still be in the habit of being a cluttered person. You know? All right. Just think about those things. Again, I want to just give you these thoughts as something to think about. Everybody, each one of these. Pretend I'm talking. I learned this from a life coach that I worked with once. It was like, pretend whenever you're listening to like a motivational speaker or somebody that's giving advice, pretend they're not just talking to, even when I was talking to somebody specific right there, pretend that that information was just for you, that they're talking right to you. So everything I say today, even if I'm signing it to somebody else's name, like Ashley, because Ashley just said something, Susie, you know, I'm talking to them because their thought came up. But a lot of the stuff that happens with clutter is not unique. Okay. Now, I've been doing decluttering coaching for a number of years now. I've been doing it informally kind of all my life, helping people make order out of chaos, both personally and professionally and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the basis of clutter, a lot of the things are the same, even though it feels unique to you. There are a lot of things that are similar with everybody else. So somebody else asks a question, but see if the answer, you can put that in your toolkit. Now, Ashley says, I am going on Saturday to help my sister with her super cluttered house. Wish me luck. I will. You know what I'm also going to pack your bag with? Patience and love and fun. I have cluttered sisters too. When I go to their houses, I will show up. I make sure I don't show up in judgy mode. I show up in helpful, open, curious, energetic mode for them. Because if you get judgy, it's going to stop. So also patience, moving at a pace that's right for your sister. Maybe she wants to tell you all the stories of her stuff. Moving at a pace that's hers, not yours. I can go through stuff much quickly. I have to remember to not just be like, oh, come on, let's go. Because I know how to get through things. Also because I don't hear the stories. So notice those things when you're packing your bags to go to your sister's, as I pack my bags to go away next week, and bring those things and leave your judgment, leave fear, feel resentment and irritation. Try to leave those things at home or just kick them to the curb at all. Okay? Yeah, she's been going through depression, definitely not going to be judgy. Okay, good. Now I say these things to just remind you, even when you do, you know, like she could be running out, oh, I don't feel like doing it. You could be like, oh, you know, I'm here to help you and now you don't want help. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a crabby sister. I don't know. I'm early. Just notice these things, okay? Noticing things too, just really quick, because I don't see any, I think I've addressed a lot of these questions right here. And yes, Cat Mama, totally. What a good sister are you? Yes, you are. That's awesome. It is almost 7:30. It's 7:29 where I am Eastern time. So I'm just giving you kind of that verbal heads up as if you were like listening to the radio. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Why Destination Decluttered? Because I like to travel and I like to think of things as a road trip. You are here, and I'm pointing to this little pin I made with cardboard on my, or construction paper on my thing, but you want to be there. You know what's in between is a bunch of little steps you got to take, just like a road trip. I like to make it fun, okay? I'm here as Destination Decluttered on TikTok. My TikToks are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, and I have a free mailing list that you can sign up for. And occasionally I offer one-on-one coaching. Right now, I don't have any slots available for consultations, at least for the next week or so, because I'm traveling. But if you're interested in possibly doing coaching with me, the best and easiest and the low-keyest first step is to hop on my mailing list at destinationdecluttered.com. Okay? Hey, yo, Cat Roby, 4:30 a.m. All right, so you are on the East Coast, West Coast, my friend, unpacking some pesky shopping bags with you. Bags that have been sitting on a chair since mid-August. Yeah, you don't realize how quickly time flies, okay? It's crazy that you're like, whoa, how long has that been there? I was working with a client yesterday, a one-on-one client that I could tell from my notes. I do a 10-session program, but it's not exactly, it doesn't always work out to be 10 weeks in a row because of their schedule, because of my schedule, because things come up. I'm very flexible about the scheduling of my coaching. We pick a day and a time that works for the both of us, and also your time zone. But I bring this up because when I was working with this client, we were talking about decluttering her pantry, and her kitchen is a thing. And I said, well, how about this? And we started talking about having like too many sauces and having no room for the stuff that she bought. And she's like, oh no, but I decluttered that when you and I first started working together. I decluttered, the sauces in my fridge. I was like, awesome. And I said, do you realize that was over 3 months ago at this point? She's like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, we started in May. All of June has happened, all of July has happened, and now all of August has happened. So even the things that weren't expired in May, they might be expired now. So this is what I mean by checking on how much time passes and how the maintenance of these things. It's not a set it and forget it. It's not a one and done. It's getting it to a good place, but then doing the little things every day to keep it going. So just notice how time can go by. Kat saying, oh my gosh, this bag has been here for a couple of weeks. So know this, okay? Oops, sorry. Well, you know what? I gotta wash this blankie anyway. So that's what we do. We do some decluttering here. We have some fun. We ignore the trolls. And we make our lives better. Part of what you learn in coaching and part of the thing that's going to help you in decluttering in life is focusing on what you want to focus on and dismissing what you don't want. So that's why I also call my coaching Destination Decluttered. If I just called it cluttered, I'd be like, we're focusing on the clutter. No, we want to focus on the destination of being decluttered. That's where I want to go to. That's what I'm aiming for. That's why I'm doing all this stuff. Okay? I am doing this stuff because I want to go to there. All right? Now, I love it. Kat Roby says, yesterday I decluttered my business support email box to 0, and my brain feels so clear today. Yeah. That's why we're doing this stuff, you guys. We are doing it to make ourselves feel good. And there's nothing wrong with feeling good. And when you can do it yourself, you have power. You have the power to not be a victim of your clutter. You have the power to change that. If you're wringing your hands and saying, oh, but I can't. You have the choice to do that. With choice comes responsibility, though. Because now you get to choose. You realize you have a choice. And you choose now. Notice that you choose on a certain level in your brain and in your body. You're choosing to live with clutter. But I don't mean that like in a mean way. I mean that there's an opposite. You can also choose today to do something different about it. That is something different than you've done, even just incrementally. Doing something different when your mail comes in the mailbox today. Doing something different when you walk into your kitchen and you see your dishes. Doing something different when you come home from a store and you have items that you purchased that need to be put away. Doing something different when you go into the bathroom today after I do my TikTok live and you decide whether to, wipe down the sink with the little spots on it or keep the spots there. To put the trash in the trash or just throw it on the floor. To put your dirty clothes in the hamper or leave them on the floor. The choice is yours. So you can choose to do something different if you want your life to be different. And it doesn't have to be changing everything. Don't get overwhelmed with, oh my God, like, all the things I have to do. Start small, but just start. Notice how good it feels. Show up the next day. Do some more small things. It's the cumulative effect of all of these things. It's not running a marathon. No matter how hard I try, I cannot drive from Pennsylvania to Palm Springs in one day. No matter how fast I go, it is physically impossible for me to drive that way. So what do? I say, okay, I can't do it in one day. So I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to chop up this road trip in a bunch of days, and I'm going to drive forward at a pace that feels good to me, and I'm going to enjoy the drive. Now, you may not find decluttering enjoyable, but I'm going to guarantee that if you have clutter in your life, you're also probably not doing you're saying no, you may be saying no to some fun in your life because you have clutter. You may not be inviting people over to your house. You may not be working on projects you want to work on, like crafty things. You may not be laying down on the divan and reading a book. Divan, my God, that's a wicked old word. You may not be going traveling or going out and having fun because you say, no, I can't go have fun. I have to clean my clutter. But then you sit home and staring at your clutter and you don't do it. And then you sneakily go onto TikTok and you scroll. And then you're like, great, I didn't go do the really fun thing and I didn't do my clutter. And then you feel bad and you reinforce that. You have a choice. I just say start small and start easy. That's how I will share with you, okay? I will share with you that this is a new way of me thinking of things, is to chunk it down and just start. And to work up to a place that I feel good and I feel good about what I do as opposed to beating myself up for what I didn't do. This has allowed me, this framework of thinking has allowed me to show up and declutter my home a little bit at a time. This has helped me go take some weight lifting, strength training classes that I was afraid to do. I do a little bit at a time. I lift the light weights. I get in there, but then I show up again because it wasn't as bad as I thought. Knowing that when you show up a little bit, what you're doing is you are expanding your nervous system capacity. If we want to get really technical about it, you are getting comfortable doing something you used to be uncomfortable with, and you're expanding it like this wonderful, clear bubble around you. Now, instead of being outside of your comfort zone, like they always talk about it, and to me, I'm just like, why would you want to get outside of your comfort zone? It's comfortable inside my comfort zone, so I want to stay into it. I like to think of it, instead of getting outside of it when you do something, when you get up to something that's uncomfortable, you push it out like a little stretchy bubble. And what you do is then you have a bigger comfort zone. You are more comfortable. You have a larger comfort zone. Like you just have more room. You have more things you're comfortable doing. Look at me. I'm showing up unwashed, in my pajamas practically, no makeup, at 7:30 in the morning on TikTok. If I was not comfortable with me doing that, I would not show up. So notice this. Notice that every time you do something that you're kind of afraid to do, chunking it down, realizing it's not going to cause you death, because that's the thing we're all afraid of. You're expanding your comfort zone. You're pushing it out. You're creating more space to be comfortable. And isn't that what clutter is too? Is making more space to just be comfortable. Now I love this because German Made 95 has been showing up and just being on my TikTok lives for months now, I think. I just recognize names. And German Made 95 is saying, I started by doing just one drawer a day, then a cabinet. Yeah, notice how you can chunk things down. And a lot of your home is already chunked down. Your home is made out of, your big home is made out of rooms. Your rooms have probably surfaces, doors from closets, doors from cabinets, drawers in your bureau, drawers in the kitchen, and even then, if you just say one drawer at a time, and then maybe you open up the cabinet, well, maybe the cabinet has 3 shelves. So you say, I'm just going to do 1 shelf today. And then you say, oh, that wasn't that bad. Maybe I'll do another one. And you say, okay, I'll do this one. Now, this one was a little bit more difficult. So I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to feel good about what I did. And then the next day, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up those doors, and I'm going to do that 3rd shelf. And then, boom, 1 cabinet is done. I chunked it down into small things. I made it easy. I stopped before it became very painful. And that helped me to show up again. Okay? So notice, Jess in LA, nice to see you. You're up early too. All right. Exactly. Yeah. Didn't get to my clutter situation overnight, thus I won't fix it overnight. Yeah. Again, notice the parallels in many things. If you've driven yourself to a place you don't want to be, it took you a while to get there. If you realize you've gone to, I don't want to besmirch any place, I might offend somebody, but like if I drove to, how about this? If I ended up driving myself to the Lincoln Field where the Eagles play, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even like sports. What am I doing here? I could sit there and be like, well, I guess this is just how it is. Or I say, yeah, no, I don't want to be here. So I turn my car around and first of all, I'm driving away from what I don't want, but also it's like, well, where do I want to go? And for me, I'd be like, you know where I want to go? I want to go to the rooftop bar at the rooftop restaurant at the Bach Bar. That's where I want to go. So then I put that little destination in my GPS and I follow that to where I want to go. Think about decluttering in a way as like a GPS. If you put in your inputs, you're here, where do you want to go? You put that into your mental GPS, your brain will show you the way. It's going to show you what gets you there, and what also would be a distraction, a detour. Okay? So notice these things. Yep, give yourself every day, give yourself grace and keep on going. And be going in a direction. This is the thing. I always come back to this because you can spend a lot of energy driving in circles if you don't know where you're going. So let's be strategic about it. Define how you want your home to look. Write that stuff down and aim for that. Because when you do that, you stay on target. Stay on target. Stay on target. What was that? Like Battlestar Galactica or something? You stay on target. And then you'll notice too, when you start to veer away from it, you can more better concentrate on getting back on track. Okay? All right, now S. Morg says, my whole house is a disaster. We're moving and I have high hopes for a place for everything. Okay, S. Morg, what I would love to suggest to you is you have a wonderful opportunity to do what I call decorate your Barbie dream home. Okay? So I say this to say, notice the stuff that's in your house now that's causing it to be a disaster and decide if you even want to bring it to that new house. Notice how the stuff in your house right now makes you feel. The quantity, the quality, and use this move as an opportunity to get a jump start. I don't recommend, I did this before. I will share with you, when we moved into this house 20 years ago, we brought too much stuff into it because we weren't sure what we needed, what we wanted. Now, this was exacerbated by the fact that I used to sell mid-century modern housewares and furniture and things. So we moved into this house with like 5 sofas and 14,000 lamps and a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't even ours. It was from my shop that I closed down. It took us much longer to get rid of the stuff. But if we had had some clarity prior to moving in of what we wanted in here and what we didn't, then we could have brought less with us. It would have been easy. All right. Field is saying, deciding if I should give away for relief or sell it. If you're thinking of selling things, I just mentioned I used to sell stuff. See how much money you're going to get for it. And is that money worth your time? Is that time worth your money? Either, both. You can spend time, and this is where who was it? Carla, one of my one-on-one clients, loved this saying that I got from somebody who makes her livelihood buying and selling vintage clothing. So Field, ask yourself this, do I want a quick nickel or a slow dime? What does that mean? It's like, how much money, do I want to get a short amount of money, a little bit of money quickly, or do I want to play the long game and try to get some more money, but hang on to this stuff for longer? But even before you do that, seriously, you guys, because there are vagaries in the business. The things that we think sometimes we're going to get money from, when we go and look and see what people are paying on the secondary market, it may be a rude awakening. So one of the things that can help you make a decision you feel good about is to get onto eBay, search completed sales, and see how much people are actually paying for the thing you think you might get money on. The answer may surprise you. It may be good, but most of the time for me, it's been discouraging. Like, oh man, I thought this was worth more. Damn it. But then it's like, okay, well, if it isn't worth that much, I feel better about donating it. You know? Yeah. No, okay, I plan on moving in with the things I need from our current home and then moving out via donation. Wonderful, yeah. Notice the difference between the things you need and when do you need them. Everybody. You'd be surprised at how few things you really need in your house. Now, I'm not going to go try to convince you to be minimalist. But when you move into a new house, if you pack your stuff in boxes and you only take things out of boxes when you need them, man, would you be surprised at how many things remain in boxes. Now, some things you have in your house that remain in boxes are in boxes just for you're in boxes for like 11 months out of the year. I think of like holiday decor, and we're coming up on the holiday season. So when I am coaching people during this upcoming season, and we talk about Halloween, Thanksgiving, and the December holidays, you have stuff that you haven't taken out in, January to September or October. You never even look at that stuff. But when you go to open them, you're going to see this is stuff that you packed away last year. Do you still want to decorate the way you did last year? Do you want to make it simple? Do you want to, notice those things that you do have but you only use once a year? It's okay. But notice the stuff you think you're going to use but you don't ever. Okay? So notice that stuff. All right, what time is it? It's 7:46. I'm looking around. I'm getting a bit of a headache. I know I'm getting something. This sucks because I am going away for a week to help people. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take care of myself. Because if I don't feel good, I don't do good. So I back it up. So I say this to you. I share this with you to say, if you don't feel good, pay attention to how you're feeling. Make yourself feel better, but don't give it there's going to be times when it's going to be either or. If you're feeling so crappy that you can't do anything, by all means, take care of yourself. But if you're using not feeling good as an excuse to not do things, catch yourself when you're calling out sick on yourself, when you're really faking it. Oh, I didn't feel well, so I didn't do it. Like, there are times when I'm flat out. I will cry because I have a migraine. I'm in bed with all the, lights off and everything. But there are other times when I feel just kind of lousy. And I say, okay, well, I don't feel so great, but there's something little I can do. Because if I wait until all the stars align, until I'm motivated and I have the time and the sun is out and all the birds, if I wait for those slivers of time, they rarely happen. So I will be sitting there in my driveway a lot where I could have been driving on days that it was kind of cloudy. This is kind of like being a creative person too. You don't wait for inspiration to hit. Inspiration tends to hit the people who are creating on a daily basis. I know this because my husband is a what do you call it? He's a cool guy. He's a songwriter, and he will pay attention to when he hears something, and he will stop doing what he's doing and write down the stuff and get going again. But he's always working on music. He's not laying on the couch going, I just have to wait for the muse. So I say that to you in the decluttering world. It does make it easier when you're feeling better, so do things to make your feeling better. Yeah, Heather Carter. It says, I've been calling out on myself but couldn't put words to it. Thanks for helping me recognize it. Yeah, this is what I remember. Think about this. I think about this in school and work. About when you're legitimately calling in for a sick day because you feel like sick, you're totally like, I am not coming in. I feel horrible. And you have that confidence of, I know not to do this because I am not going to be productive. There are other times when there may be something going on that makes you go like, I don't feel good today. I can't come in. Maybe there's a test. Maybe there's a report due. Maybe you don't like your job and you're like, screw it, I don't want to go. So notice when you're calling out sick on each other, on yourself. Catch yourself doing that and just get curious why you're doing it. Why am I, if I think, and this is why I always find it helpful to have a destination in mind when you're decluttering. What do I want that room to look like? And the destination, it's kind of like a destination vacation. You should be feeling some sparkly zhuzh, some excitement in your body to want to get to there. I want that room to look like this, and I deserve to live in a home that looks good. Damn it, I want to get there. I am so excited for this room to be what I want. I don't want it to be the way it was. I want it to be like this, and that's the energy that I'm going to bring to it. So if you're dragging your heels on decluttering, ask yourself, what are you aiming for? Do you have a destination that you're excited to get to? A destination, a destination decluttered What does your destination decluttered look like? Ask yourself that question. Write it down. Make a shopping list for the universe. Make a list of things that you know in that room would make you feel better. If those things weren't the way they are now, they were different. I want that table to be cleared because I want to do crafts. I want to have a place where when I go to do my crafts that I know exactly where everything is, and I don't want to be digging through to find just the right tool. I want to be able to access the stuff that I want. I want it to be easy to clean up, and I also want to feel like it's okay if I leave a project out because I'm working on it, and I can just shut the door on that room and the whole rest of the house is not a mess. So if you are not excited about decluttering, I'm thinking that you're not seeing what's in it for you, because if you're not seeing what's in it for you, you're not going to do it. So what is in it for you? What benefit will you personally, not anybody else, not your kids, not your mate, not the neighbors, not your relatives, not your friends, you. How is decluttering going to make your life better? Your life. We can sit here for a minute if you want to write it down. Or just write down that question, and when I sign off in about 9 minutes, 8 minutes, ask yourself, yeah, what's in it for me? Do I want to live in a decluttered house? Yeah. Why? How's it going to feel? I love living a decluttered life. It feels so much better. It is so much easier to live without as much clutter as I used to. I will say it's easy. Yeah, peace and serenity. Yes, decluttering my schedule so I can have free time. Yeah, this is what I do with my clients. It's not just about decluttering your home, but saying, where are you not adding in the fun in your life to have a life you want? Let's get some clutter out of your schedule, and instead of doing that stuff, let's do this stuff. Okay? Yeah, you're going to notice what you have, and do you need the quantity you have? Rain says, I decluttered my pots and pans and realized I had collected quite a few casserole dishes. Yeah. Notice the quantity and quality of what you have and say, do I need this many casserole dishes? Now, I used to collect vintage Pyrex, so I had a number of them, but I also made sure I used them. But I noticed that the way I live, I don't often make as many casseroles as I had. So I sold my vintage Pyrex, not all of it, but I kept a few that I use for, that are each different sizes, and I use them. Angie says, how do you get your family on board with you? Yeah, you don't at the beginning. No, if you don't know how to do it yourself, you cannot teach them in a way that's going to work. So Angie, I say this with love. This is why I say, not them, not them, not them, but you. You can best help your family with the clutter by getting good at the process of decluttering, the mental, the emotional, the physical process of decluttering yourself. I say this because you then will be modeling behavior that they can adopt. You will also have ways that you can show them what to do that's a lasting way of doing it, and also that you will become an expert at it, so you can teach them from a place of knowledge as opposed to just like, well, I think this will work. So notice those things, okay? So don't initially try to change anybody else. If you don't know how to do it yourself, you can't teach somebody. Imagine if you didn't know how to drive a car, then you were trying to teach your kids how to drive a car. No, learn how to do this yourself. Practice, get good at it. Notice the patterns in your home. You can start, you don't have to wait till you're perfect, but you're going to notice that you have habits that are decluttering. When you change your habits, you're going to notice that your family has habits of clutter. What you do with your dishes after you eat on them. What you do with your clothes after you wear them. What you do with your things that you buy when you bring them into the house. Where you put certain items. You will become a wonderful observer of the flow of things in your house, and you can notice where things are not working out the way you want, and you can decide to do something else with it. Boop. But also notice what I said too. When you go to share this info with your family, be strategic about it. You're saying to yourself, what's in it for me? Position it and say, this is how us living in a decluttered home is going to benefit you and you and you. Okay? Now, Kat Roby, notice what's coming up. I want time to do nothing. I want time to just be. Yeah. Honey, schedule it into your calendar. See this? See this whole thing? This is my calendar for the day. I've got a TikTok live. Check. I've got some coaching. I'm going to take a walk. Going to take a shower. Going to do some coaching. Going out to lunch with friends. I scheduled that in. I made it happen. Then I come home. Then I do some more stuff around the house. Then I do some coaching. And then I get a whole bunch of time free to do whatever the heck I want. Make a road trip plan. Make a map of your day that includes the stuff you want to do. You know? There we go. Cat Mama says, I can't wait to be done, but I want to be able to decorate Christmas this year without overwhelm. Okay? Yes. Yeah. Pyrex versus Pyrex. Yes, my sister used to sell Pyrex too, so I know all about that. Yes, you can't teach somebody to do something that you don't know how to do yourself. Haha, yeah. Yeah, you can declutter the family. You can get rid of them. It's always an option. Okay. My family, Mercy G says, my family refuses to help anymore. First of all, I always take umbrage, and I have to practice this myself. Helping out as if it's your job and they're just helping you out. No. Everybody who lives in the house needs to participate in the maintenance of it, no matter how old they are. That's one of my rules, because you shouldn't be shouldering it, because decluttering is a life skill that everybody needs to know. But Mercy says, my family refuses to help anymore. They say, I just move things around, but really don't get rid of it. Well, Mercy, is it true? Do you just move things around and not get rid of it? It could be true. A lot of people, when you don't know what to do with it, well, I don't know what to do with it. I'm just going to put it down the basement. That's how you get to having a basement full of decisions you haven't made. When you learn how to make decisions and get things out of your home, you will be a more credible source. So learn, I say this to everybody in a really nice way. Learn how to do it yourself, for yourself. What's in it for me? I want to learn this skill myself. And then I can share that skill with my children, with my mate. I will stop doing it all for them, and I will empower them. I will give them this tool that I didn't have because I had to learn it myself. You know? All right, we got a few minutes here, 2 minutes or so, and then I'm going to sign off. What can I tell you? There we go. Okie Teacher says, I started decluttering my kitchen, and to my surprise, my husband started helping me on day 3. You can lead by example. Okay? Lead by example. Yeah, learn how to do it yourself, for yourself. Okay, now I'm going to sign off momentarily because I have coaching and stuff to do. I also am going to take an Excedrin for the headache because I'm going to make myself feel better. Do some things today that are going to make you feel better. But also, you know what's going to make you really feel better? Get your 35-cent notebook from Staples. Start to sit down with it. Get yourself some quiet time and say, what's my destination? What's in it for me? You have a good day, Eric, too, okay? And no, you don't need a basement. It's just another place to put your crap. Okay? Sit down today and say to yourself, all right, wait a minute. It's just the beginning of September. What do I want my home to look like by Christmas? Write down your destination decluttered. And then notice some things you can do today and tomorrow and the next day. They don't have to be big. They can be little. Practice getting yourself started. But before you get yourself started, please activate that energy in you that answers the question, answers the musical question, what's in it for me? Okay? I will do a TikTok live tomorrow. I don't know what time it is, but if you do, you're on the mailing list. If you want to get on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com. I will see you when I see you. Okay? Bye.